Okay, so in this next lesson on content placement, what we're going to do is I want a scroll bar to appear in this little box. I just happen to decide that in my web page, what I want is if the text or content, meaning text, images, videos, you name it, if it extends beyond this border here, what I want is a scroll bar. All right, instead of having a scroll bar at the side of the screen here. So in order to do this, let me first start by kind of explaining where we are. All right. So your website project should look somewhat similar to mine. In a nutshell, we first started with Photoshop. We used Photoshop to design basically the site exactly the way we want it to look, and then we sliced it apart. And we created an images folder with all our slices and rollovers, and it created our first HTML page. And then what we did is we jumped into Dreamweaver, we defined a site, we created a template, and once we created a template, we added a couple of editable regions, and we created a bunch of other HTML files, okay, that are linked to this template. So we change the template, it's gonna change all these other files here, okay. And then what we did is we went one step further. Is what we're trying to do here is I'm just open brew.html. So what we want is we want the HTML coding to define what content is going to appear in our pages. But when it comes time to defining the style of the content, such as the font size, font color, the spacing between the text, the images, the placement, XY coordinates, whether there's a border around it, what color the border is, and all that stuff. All the styling we want to remove from the HTML page, and we want to stick it in the style.css page. And all these files here, the style.css page is linked to the main template, and because the main template was used to create all these HTML pages, all these HTML pages are also linked to the style.css. Okay, so let's get started with content placement. Now, first of all, I just need a bunch of text to put in here. So an easy way to get that is I'm just going to open a new tab. I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to go to Latin generator. There it is, Latin generator. Do Google search. Click on the first one, and this will do just fine. So I'm going to select this. I'm just going to copy it, bring it back to Dreamweaver inside my editable region, and I'm just going to paste this a couple times and make sure it extends. And why not up here? I'm going to call this brew. Okay. So once I save the page, if I hit F12 and I view it in the browser, it looks like this. I want to add the scroll bar, so here's how you do it. Now, because this page is tied to the CSS page, it's actually the CSS page is where I want to add the scroll bar. Now, inside your style sheet.css, this is why it's really important to name your CSS properly. Now, in the case down here, cake and chocolate, that's a pretty good name because I have a picture of a cake and a picture of chocolate. And I can see very clearly that this CSS applies to my cake picture, and this CSS here applies to my chocolate picture. All right. So that's that's pretty easy to see. However, APDiv1 and APDiv2, those aren't really very good names. So now I remember what APDiv1 and 2 are because in my template I go to code view. And here's my APDiv2. This is my main content. APDiv1 is my go back to the design view, is my is the title of the page. Let's jump back to the style sheet.css. So now, like I said before, the APDiv1, APDiv2 just aren't. They're not named very well. So what I can do to fix that is instead of changing the name, because if I change the name here, it's not going to, I need to change the name here, and I also need to change it here as well, because if I change one name, APDiv1, and not the other name, then something's gonna, something not good's going to happen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go /star, and I'm going to go title of the page, okay, and then /. You notice how everything kind of turned gray. Before that, this is a comment. This is ignored by CSS, but it's like a sticky note and lets me know exactly what CSS that's defining. And then here I could go /star, and I'm gonna go main page content div, and then // there. Okay, now that's named pretty good. So very simply, now this is the AP div 2. This is the CSS that defines how this division works, where it's located. Okay, it defines where it's located on the 114 pixels from the left, 168 pixels from the top. It defines its width and height dimensions. So what I want to do here is I also want to tell it to use a scroll bar. So now I want to add one more property and value. Okay, so these are called properties, okay, and these are called values. So what I want to do is at the end of the last one, hit enter, and then I get a really long list of all the and just a ton of different CSS values that I can that can I apply to this div. What they all are, I have absolutely no idea, but you know, I personally kind of have a lot of fun learning about this kind of stuff. You know, like finding out. So I'm going to use one called overflow, okay, and so my properties overflow, my value is auto, and then I'm going to put a semicolon there, save it, go back to my page, refresh it, and there you have it. Here's my scroll bar, and you notice that it's automatic in the eats. Sorry, like for example in the book, well, it doesn't appear in this page. However, if the text would extend beyond this page, it would definitely start to appear. The scroll bar would start to appear. So I just want to end up by saying that so this is how you do a scroll bar here, and you notice the scroll bar doesn't really follow the same color pattern as the rest of my page, but that is totally configurable. You can change the color, you can change the style, you can change the size, shape, you can change everything. Now I personally don't know how to do it, but if I needed to know, I would search out the answer. Okay, I'll talk to you later.